Hello, this is Mike with MFGx, and today I'm going to be covering the ADP integration with an ERP system. I'm going to go over a couple key points and suggestions, as well as the template flow that all of our developers and customers use to integrate with ADP and create users and employees in their HCM or ERP endpoints. I want to start by pointing everybody to mfgxonline.com. That is the source of all information about our MFGx platform, features and pricing, as well as our support site. Support.mfgx.io is home of our knowledge base in our community, and I'm going to actually start by showing off two of our knowledge base articles for ADP integrations. So ADP is a very secure website, and I appreciate that because we use them internally for payroll. So all of our data is protected extremely well, and we work with these particular APIs through ADP. So we work with workers, time entry, payroll output, job applicants, lifecycle management, a whole list of APIs that ADP supports coming and going out of their system. The caveat is that you must request API access directly through ADP for each one, and there's multiple levels of data for each one. So they have a very specific flow designed to manage the connections and the external applications that can access your data. So you will need to contact ADP directly. You identify any of the sensitive data like birth dates or social security numbers. You can turn those on, you can turn those off. We recommend that you leave them off. However, I believe birth date and social security number are a package deal, so we may just if you need the birthday, we will just ignore and wipe any reference to the social security number as soon as we get it. You start the process with them by doing a CSR or a certificate signing request with ADP, and that is a self-signed certificate. Basically, you generate it on your computer, and then you give them a file that provides them with another file that then you verify against yours. And it's a complicated but very secure method of integrating between two platforms, and we take a copy of that certificate and install it on our MFGx instance for you, and I'll show you that in just a moment. So, and lastly, when you're defining your ADP website, we've found that every one of our customers that integrates right now ends up defining a username or email address of the employee that will be created in the new ERP system. So if you think about it, if you're hiring somebody in ADP, you're basically creating a user in your ERP system afterwards. So you need to know the user number, maybe the company code or the building that they're working at. And a surprise to us was the shift. ADP doesn't have shift concepts, but a lot of manufacturing companies hire and place people into specific shifts, and that information is great to store in ADP and then pump down into the ERP system. The next bit of information is connecting with ADP and the setup for that. This page talks about that, connecting with ADP. So there's an endpoint where we just define where we authenticate against, and that's accounts.adp.com. And then you need to define at least one role within our security system that can access it. I highly recommend a separate role because they have access to the ADP connection and can pull back sensitive information. The connection options themselves, we have to define not only the API that we're going to, but a separate token URL. So there are 3 URLs that we end up authenticating with for ADP, and we also pass an SSL key and an SSL certificate, which are provided by ADP. So so far we're passing in 3 extra URLs for credentials, a key, a SSL key, and an SSL certificate, which was part of the original CSR signing process. And on top of that, we're passing in a client ID and a secret from ADP. So we have basically a username, a really complicated username and password, as well as a SSL key and cert, which are huge and not really repeatable, all stored in our platform to securely communicate between the two, which keeps me very comfortable. So finally, integrating with ADP, we have different types of steps here, but this is the code. I'm just going today show you the actual flow and the template that we use that gets tweaked as customers need it for different maps. So we have a process that runs every 30 minutes or every so often as you define it. And we simply just publish to an event in our system that says, hey, let's check for an ADP event. This is important because the events are processed one at a time and we have to subscribe to them from ADP one at a time. So each time we get an event from ADP, we act on that event and then we actually remove the event and check for another one. So if there's 5 events, we'll talk to ADP 6 times. We'll get the 5 events, and on the 6th time, we'll check ADP and nothing will be there. And that all happens right here. So if you look, we have 2 trigger points here. We have the ADP check, which was published up here. And we also have a button click, which a lot of customers like to use from their systems. So we can put a button on an ERP software platform like Plex or SAP Cloud that allows you to click a button and trigger this entire event to flow out. The first thing we do is we look for an event from ADP. If there is an event, we save off their employee ID and we use it to get the employee data, we use it to get the supervisor data, and we use it to get the manager data. So there in ADP, there is up to 2 different managers, and we do a combination of all 3. If you don't need one of them, we can just get rid of it, just like that. And what we end up with is the employee and at least 1 manager, maybe 2, and then we merge all of that data together and we update the ERP. At the end of that update, we then publish back to the ADP check event, which starts the process all over, and it looks for another one. And if that was the last event that's changed, it just goes off into nothing and waits for 30 minutes. That concludes the demonstration of our flow template and our ADP integration with an ERP system. Have a great day. If you have any questions, please visit MFGx online or our knowledge base and community, or you can email me directly at mmedwith@cumulus-erp.com. Thank you and have a great day.